All right, instant audit on the jobs now. Gary Hager's still here from Integrated Wealth Management. And we're joined now from Atlanta by Mark Lloyd, who's the president of the Lloyd Group. Okay, Mark, let me go to you first. Perception, how important is it today that the jobs report is either as good or better than expected, and that we see signs just for real people looking at the headlines and say, all right, maybe things are getting a little bit better? Is that a big part of it, to, more than just the numbers to you?
Happy Good Friday to you, Connell. Absolutely. We need good news. We need good news every day in this economy. And as far as jobs go, this is the anchor that's hanging around the president's neck right now. We need to make sure that this number looks good. I think they're sitting on pins and needles at the White House right now, waiting for this number, and they'll have spin masters ready to go if this number's not right. But I'm more concerned, Connell, about the long-term ramifications of unemployment. If it stays at 9.7%, that's better than it going worse. But there's so many people, there's 6 million people out here with long-term unemployment, and that's what's really, killing us right now with this employment number. So I'm more concerned about the long-term unemployment numbers, and yeah, we may get a good number here. I know we're shooting for what, 180, 190,
sure,
190,000. I was a little bit disappointed with the ADP number on Wednesday. I was kind of a shocker to me, and I'm hoping that I don't see the same thing here today. But long-term unemployment is the problem, and that goes back to small businesses.
Sure, and that is a legitimate concern that a lot of people have. Now, Gary, the thing is, the question, I guess, going into today, is this the start of something, right? We said, we haven't seen job growth, and we've only had one other month during the recession where there's been jobs added. Is this the start of something big, or is it just going to be one good month, to Mark's concern, and then we're kind of stuck in the mud for a while? What do you think?
I think it's what you said on the first side. It's going to be something
okay,
big.
Well, that's good news.
Remember, I was calling for a very low unemployment number by year end, which people have been calling me crazy.
What was the number again? Just was
8.5.
8.5.
8.5 to 8.7.
All right, so 8.5 to 8.7 of the unemployment rate, a full percentage point below where it is now.
Yes.
So jobs would have to come back pretty aggressively over the next few months and into the summer to make that happen. What's leading, in your view, just without going completely into the weeds on it, what's leading to the job rebound? Is it inventories that were built up over time because of the recession? Is it something else, of just a matter of time until these things turn? Government stimulus? What's going to lead to it?
The government stimulus.
Are you really believing that? It's working?
Yeah, I do. Because, again, I take that political connection very, very strongly, meaning the Democrats in the midterms and the money from stimulus and TARP and the ability to put out that $130 billion jobs bill.
It was timed for political reasons to be at its best heading up to the midterms. Is that what
absolutely, 100%. Absolutely, without question. Again, mine, I think other people might agree. Some might take a different perspective on it, the true, really, supply-side people on this. But I really feel that by midsummer, we're going to be looking at some interesting numbers in the 2s to 3s on a monthly basis.
Well, the political narrative can't be ignored here that Gary's bringing up, Mark, because, the president obviously had a very, very difficult time of it in the months leading up to the passage of health care. But now, if you look at it from that perspective, could be seen as having a victory there, pushing for financial reform, a potential victory there, with jobs coming back. And if Gary's right that the timing of it is not a coincidence, coming back before the midterm election, you could see where he's making his argument. Do you agree with it?
To a certain extent, this is a Band-Aid situation. Anytime the government's throwing money into it, government stimulus packages, 100,000 jobs with the census reporters, I mean, that's all Band-Aids. We got an open wound here, and all we're doing is bandaging it up. Bottom line is we got to get the economy turned around, and it's got to go more towards small business. That's where the future lies as far as future job growth to be able to sustain low unemployment numbers. So, he may try to massage the numbers, but the bottom line is it's not. It's just numbers.
Gary, a very quick last word, then we're going to move on.
So I just want to ask the question. So when you say it needs to go to small business, what are you referring to?
I'm saying that we need to have some tax. Right now we're being hammered on the small, and most of my clients are small business owners.
Right.
So I see this every day, and we're being hammered right now with extra tax legislation. Now we have health care reform, and the bottom line is there's only so many pennies in the dollar, and we can't cut back any more employees, but we can't hire anymore. And when you've got a threshold on this on the health care reform of keeping your employees under 50.
Right.
To avoid penalties and fees and fines.
If you're that kind of business, you're not going to hire.
See,
to
but
put
you're
it
not.
above
You're not.
50.
I mean,
Exactly.
Real quick, Gary.
do we have?
Go ahead. Yeah, we
I'm
have
just
time.
going to
Go ahead.
say that there is a great opportunity. I don't buy the argument, first of all, that tax cuts is the answer versus spending when the multiplier effect has been proven time and time again to be 4 to 5 when tax cuts are about 0.5. Second is if I'm a business owner and somebody's going to come in and tax me more, which I am,
Right.
the argument that you'll work less because you're paying more taxes is false. I believe as a business owner, you are going to work harder. You might hire more people. And you know what? You might look at healthcare as an important
But
component
when you do more
of
with
retaining
less, I
employees.
mean, isn't it fair to say, all right, well, because of maybe I would work harder, but I would be less likely to hire people because of those, the incentives aren't there to do that, no?
I don't agree.
You
I
don't.
don't.
You think people would hire more?
Absolutely. I think if you're really a smart businessman, you're going to know what the multiplier effect is on taking money and investing it in, let's say, the stock market versus taking money and investing it in an employee.
In an employee, which is all
right.
right. Good point. All right, good discussion from both of you guys. We'll get back to it, and we'll talk about jobs all morning. By the way, live for an instant audit on this, let's bring Gary Hager back, Integrated Wealth Management. Also, Mark Lloyd of the Lloyd Group, both here to talk about auto sales. You surprised, Mark, to see how strong some of these numbers are or no?
I was kind of surprised to see how strong Toyota was because
Yeah.
I know we've been talking about Toyota for the last several months, and boy, they've been getting hammered in the media. But you know, I've been telling you all along, it's a good quality car. I love Toyotas. I have a couple Toyotas right now. It's a good quality built car. I also have a Ford. I like Ford. And I tell you what else I like about Ford. I like that Ford didn't take government money. And
they
they're
didn't.
showing you how to do it in the free market way. And GM is taking advantage of Toyota's problems by offering incentives. And as far as Chrysler goes, hey, people want a bargain and they want quality.
Well,
You know,
that's the
bottom,
story.
Bottom line is that's what you're seeing.
That's the story, Gary, in a lot of ways, is that we had a story every day for however long about this is going wrong at Toyota, that's going wrong, they're looking at this, the bad publicity, everything else. And still, the sales were up because people like a deal, right? Simple as that. They like, I mean, if you give people a good enough deal, they'll buy anything. Not to say that Toyota cars aren't quality cars, but, I mean, if you give people a deal, they will buy.
Toyota had a speed bump, not a very pleasant one.
No.
But the brand is there, the loyalty is there, and it didn't take very long at all, did it?
But we criticized, but they were criticized so aggressively for not handling that problem the right way. But will they get the credit for putting the incentives in place at the right time that maybe do save the brand from further damage?
I think it's very easy to look in hindsight and say that they should have done it this way or that way.
Yeah.
But you really just have to look at the body of evidence of Toyota over the years, what they've done, where they've been, the product line they've chosen, how they've built the Lexus brand. I love the product. I've owned 2 Lexuses myself, just like I don't have a Ford. I assume he has a Ford truck. At least I hope so. But
Is that true, Mark? It's a truck? F-150?
It's actually the Escape. It's just one of the SUVs. My daughter has it.
Oh, the SUV Escape, yeah. So it's interesting because what's your view, Mark, on that question of whether Toyota's put these incentives in place and been able to boost up their sales, right, as they did last month? Now, will that be enough because people see that positive news helps PR because PR had been hit so hard that when they do eventually take the incentives away, Toyota's brand will have been maybe saved is too strong of a word, but preserved to a larger extent than if they had not been able to prop up the sales in a tough period of time?
I like that word, preserved, and I think it is preserved for 2 reasons. Number one is because of quality. If you don't have quality, and that's my problem with Chrysler, with Daimler Chrysler, because I had a couple Chrysler products, and I just had problem after problem. I mean, the car had a smell to it, it squeaks, and I mean, I'm telling you, it was a disaster. And when I traded it in, and I went to Toyota, and I've been a happy Toyota client ever since. You have to have quality, but you have to have incentives as well. And I just think they've got it together, Toyota and Ford. And I like what GM did. GM took the Toyota problem and said, hey, come try us. And I like what they did with their incentives.
It's fun. I don't know. You're blaming Chrysler for the smell in your car. It could have been something completely unrelated.
I swear, it was not us. It was something in the car.
Forget about new car smell.
It wasn't new car smell. I tell you, it smelled like a stinking feet. I'm telling you.
Oh, that's terrible.
It was horrible.
That was terrible. Good grief. All right, Mark. Thank you very much. Funny stuff. And Gary, thanks to you as well.